Okay. Hello, Internet. This is Charlie. Hello. It's been a while since I've done just like a talking at the camera and doing things kind of video. Actually, it's been a while since I've done any kind of video at all that is good, because I just don't use my YouTube channel enough, frankly. So I thought I would do something today. I'm gonna make some soup. Because, okay, so I've had this post-it note sitting on my desk for like a week now, and it just says how to soup. I wrote how to soup because I was thinking to myself one day, you know, I only know how to cook like 3 things, maybe 3.5, and I was like, one of those things that I know how to cook is soup. And I feel like that is important information that the world needs to know, because soup is a good food, it's fucking easy to make, and also it's good for when you're sick, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, today I am going to make the world's biggest pot of soup. Not actually, just not the biggest, just a big one. And I'm gonna show you how to do that, I guess. Also, it's like a bit late at night, so, great, good, let's do that. Okay, so step 1 of cooking anything is to look in your cupboard and see what you have. Which right now is not a lot. I've got some ramen down there. I've got some canned soup bases down here. Here. This is the stuff that's actually important. I have some canned veggies, and I have some broth base. And that is an important thing for making soup, because if you don't want to, like, you know, make your own broth by, like, boiling bones from some manner of meat, which no one wants to do for obvious reasons, you should probably just use this stuff, because it's easy, and you are a lazy person, like I am, probably. Also, mixed vegetables. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so step number 2 of making a thing that is food is looking in your fridge and seeing what you have. Because you can't just make soup that's only, that's only vegetables, because that would be gross. Let's see, do I have any kind of, like, proteiny meat thing? I don't really want to put eggs in this particular soup, because I don't think that would be good. This is fish, but I do not think that would be good in soup. Got hot dogs, but that's not something you put in soup. Let's see. What's in my freezer? Lots of fruit. Ooh, hey. That is a meat. That's gonna have to defrost. But hey, it's a meat, and that is something that can be put in a soup, so we're gonna use that. Alright, pro tip for if you have a thing but it is frozen, put it in the sink, move the rest of the stuff that's in the sink, and then just run some hot water. You know, there you go. Put the thing in the sink, and then run some hot water, and hopefully it will defrost eventually. You know, just sort of cross your fingers. It's not an exact science. You just sort of leave it there for a while and let hot water run. Okay, so while that is sitting over there in the sink attempting to defrost for a while, we're gonna grab some noodles, because no good soup is a good soup without noodles. I've got some spaghetti-ish kind of noodles, and I've got some... Lord almighty, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Mostaccioli? Mostaccioli, I think is how you would say that word. The 2 C's indicates that it is a CH sound, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I've got some of that shit. And I have, what's in here? Some small shells enriched macaroni product. So that's cool. I don't really know which one of those would be best for a soup. I mean, I feel like spaghetti-ish long noodles are the kind of standard, you know, chicken soup deal. But also, I'm just a big fan of these things. But also, these ones have been in my pantry for the longest, and I should probably use them. Yeah, I'm gonna use these. Okay, once you've gathered up your things that you're going to put in your soup, the other thing is still, you know, in there trying to defrost. You're gonna want to get some manner of pan to cook your meat in prior to putting it in your soup, and then you're gonna want to get a large pot. This is the largest pot that I own. That's a strainer. Don't need that. Yeah, this is a big pot, which is, I mean, here, let me like hold it up in comparison to my face so that you can see how giant it is. Give me a second. That's how big this pot is. It's pretty large. It's pretty ginormous. That makes, you know, if you fill the entire thing with soup, that's probably like 3 days worth of soup if you're just eating it for every meal by yourself, which is what I generally do because I live by myself and I don't cook for other people. Okay, so the mystery meat has been sitting in the sink long enough that it's like squishy enough that I think I can cut it into small cubes, I suppose. It doesn't have to like fully de-thaw, you're gonna fry it and cook it up anyway, so you know, I'm gonna get on to that, and we're gonna see if we can achieve some cool cinematography whilst I do that. I don't really have any kind of clever commentary to give you during this, so like if you want to continue watching me cut up half-frozen meat, you can do that, I guess, but if not, you can like skip ahead. I don't care. Also, I'm definitely listening to a meme playlist right now, just in case you were wondering. It was playing Megalovania a minute ago. Okay, now that I've had a little time to like chop that up and compose my thoughts a bit, allow me to explain to you like what exactly my thought process is in attempting to make basically any food that I make. I only know how to properly cook like 3 or 4 dishes, but I think if you know the sort of basics of any dish, you can like throw something together pretty easy. The basics of anything that you make is you need some kind of carb, which usually for me is some kind of pasta, because I always have pasta on hand. You need some kind of vegetable, which usually for me is, you know, canned veggies, because I'm fucking lazy. But also, you know, you can buy fresh vegetables if you want to spend your money on that, but I usually don't, so I don't. And you also need some kind of protein, hence meat. Or, like, if you are not a person who eats meat, maybe eggs. Or if you're not a person who eats eggs, you know, nuts, or... I don't really know how to do vegetarian food, I'm sorry. That's the basics of making anything. And also, that's just, that's sort of what makes a good soup as well. You just gotta put all the things into a pot and mix them together, and it's wonderful. So, that's my sort of thought process explanation there on what I'm trying to accomplish here. Which is basically just make a very large pot of food that will last me a couple of days so that I don't have to cook for the next couple of days because I'm lazy. Pro tip for adult life: cook a lot of things all at once when you feel like cooking, because you're not going to want to cook again for a while after that, and then you can just like have a lot of food that you've prepared ahead of time. This is advice that many people have given me, and I never listened to them, but actually it's correct advice, so definitely listen to that advice. Okay, so the first step in attempting to make this food thing is I'm going to cook the meat in this large pan. I think you can also make soup by cooking your meat directly in your broth, but frankly I'm not sure what kind of meat this is, nor how long it's been in my fridge, so I'd rather cook it beforehand and not risk like undercooking it and then giving myself salmonella or something, cause that would suck. So that's what we're doing first. The camera is now on top of my toaster. I'm gonna try really hard not to knock that over. So we have large pan. I'm gonna get some cooking spray. Cooking spray. And we're gonna just kind of do that. And then we're going to put the cooking spray back because I do not want it anywhere near the hot oven top because this is a pressurized can, and if it gets hot, it could potentially explode, and I really don't want that to happen. Pro tip. Alright, so we now have our pan. We have our mystery meat. We're going to put the mystery meat in the pan. We're going to put these in the sink and turn some very hot water on. And then we're going to turn the oven on, not the oven, the stove, just kidding. I'm going to say medium-high. That looks right, yeah. That looks about right, medium-high. And then we're going to get some kind of stirring utensil. We're going to wait for this to heat up. I think that's the right... Nope, I turned on the wrong one. This is the one we wanted to turn on. Just kidding. So we're going to put that on medium-high. And we're going to cook this for a little bit. And I also might, like, toss some spices stuff in here. Because otherwise it's going to taste really boring. I've got salt just chilling over here. I've got pepper just chilling over here. Got, what do I have up here? I have rotisserie chicken seasoning. Well, that sounds interesting. Why don't we try that? Warning, I don't actually know what I'm doing. So maybe don't actually take any of my advice. I'm not sure if medium-high is the correct heat temperature setting to have this on. It might end up cooking too fast, so I'm gonna turn that down. And like, you might say, hey, there's no such thing as cooking too fast. You're just being efficient. But actually, if you cook it too fast, then the outside gets cooked really fast, but the inside does not get cooked at all. And then you end up with some stuff on the inside that's still kind of raw. And then if you eat it, you could potentially get sick. And that's not fun. So I would advise against doing that. But then again, you know, I don't actually know what I'm doing approximately 100% of the time. So maybe don't take that advice and look up on the internet how you're supposed to correctly cook meat. So we're gonna let this go for a while, you know. Okay, here's another pro tip for you. When it starts looking like this is mostly done cooking, ooh, my camera's steaming up a little bit there. You're gonna wanna like cut a big piece in half and see if the inside is cooked yet. And on this one, it looks like it mostly is, which means it's probably all done. But you always want to do that with like a really big piece, because the bigger ones are the ones that take the longest to cook. See, like that one, the inside doesn't quite look cooked, so I'm going to let that go for a little bit longer. Okay, so that is done cooking and has been removed from the heat. So the next thing that we're going to do is... you know, I'm not really sure what is the correct order to do this in. I think probably the next thing to do is fill the pot with a significant amount of water. And then from there we'll just sort of wing it, I guess. Yeah! Okay, now that we have a very big pot of water, I have deposited it on the spot on the oven that is still hot. Phew! Oh boy. Sorry. It's allergy season. Next thing I'm gonna do is turn the heat back on, because I forgot that I still needed this to be hot, and I turned it off. So we're gonna turn this up to high, and we're gonna leave it until it boils. And then we're gonna add some broth base, and then we're gonna add the noodles after we put the broth base in, because if you cook the noodles in the broth, rather than cooking the noodles beforehand and putting them in the broth, once they're already cooked, then they will taste like what the broth tastes like, which is soup. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Pro tip, if you add a little bit of salt, it'll boil faster, or something. I've been told that is a thing that happens. So, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm gonna do it. So, okay, I'm really impatient, and this looks like it's hot enough at this point, you know, so I'm just gonna get on with it. So I have opened the broth base, and I'm going to put a bunch of it in here. Just like, it's not an exact science. I'm not even using a measuring spoon. Also, I'm kind of making a mess. That's okay. you just sort of put a lot of it in there until your broth looks like soup broth and not like water. Also, trying to do this with one hand is really hard. I think this is like 4 spoonfuls now. I don't know if that's enough. Let's stir it up and find out. That looks like soup broth, right? I mean, it looks like something, that's for sure. And we're gonna add some more stuff. We're gonna add our noodles. Again, I am terrible at doing things with one hand. So, there we go. Cool. And with the noodles, it's also not really an exact science. Just, you know, put in as many as you think your soup needs, which in my case is this entire box, because this has been sitting in my cupboard for too long, and I don't want them to be in there anymore, because they will probably go bad. Yeah, that's definitely not enough noodles. I'm gonna go track down some more noodles, and we're gonna put more noodles in there. Like I said, it's not an exact science. You just sort of eyeball it, and, you know, if it looks like enough noodles, then it probably is enough noodles. But if it looks like you could take, like, 1 scoop of the pot of soup, and you would get nothing but broth, then you probably need to add more stuff to it, is the general rule, because nobody wants a bowl of just broth. Unless you really like broth, in which case, you know, you do you. I'm cool with that. Anyway, we're gonna get some more noodles, and we're gonna put some more noodles in there. So this is gonna be a mixed soup. It's gonna have noodle diversity. Gotta diversify your noodles. Okay, step number next. I have removed the lids from all of these cans of canned vegetables, and I have drained the water out of them, because I could be lazy and I could just dump the water from the canned veggies into the soup as well. And that is definitely something that I have done in the past, but I think with this particular soup, there's already definitely enough liquid in there, so that's not really something that I want to do. I also got some minced garlic out of my fridge, because I really like garlic, and we're going to put a couple of tablespoons of that in there too. So I guess step number next is just to dump everything in there, you know. Sploosh. Just kind of, just shake it out. Get everything out of there. Great. So there we go. We now have vegetables in the soup, and we're gonna give it a stir, because I think the noodles are probably sticking to the bottom a little bit. Next thing that we're gonna do is add a whole bunch of garlic to this, and also I don't know if I can open this with one hand, so I might have to put the camera down. I done it! So then we're gonna add some garlic, because I like garlic a lot, because I'm a gross person. See, that's a lot of garlic. Let's not spill that. There we go. Is that enough? Probably not. Let's do another one of those. Aw, yeah, baby, look at that. Mmm, delicious. One more, just for good measure. See, this is why I have this really ginormous jar of garlic, because I use a whole lot of it. Because, I'm trying to keep vampires away, probably. That might be the reason. You never know. Okay, and lastly, but not leastly, because I've totally forgotten that it's sitting over here, we're gonna add this, probably too small pan of cooked meat into the soup. So, in it goes. Amazing. And then we're gonna deposit this in the sink, and put a bunch of soap in it, and leave it for tomorrow Charlie to clean, because tonight Charlie is lazy. And then we're just gonna let this cook for a while. We're gonna give it another stir. And I'm probably gonna lower the heat a little bit, and I'm just gonna let it go for a bit. So we're, the heat is on medium-high right now. We're gonna turn it down to low, and leave it there for a bit, and just let it cook.